Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to review last night's match, Celtic and PSG. Obviously we know the scoreline. We know how our first Champions League group stage match has ended. Celtic getting beat 5-0 at home to the French, they're not even the French champions, but the biggest team in France without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, look at the money they've spent, you can't ignore that. PSG did demolish Celtic. And the question is, how embarrassing, how hurting is it? How do we actually assess this? This is a game where, to be realistic, we weren't expecting a lot. And I know I said in my match preview I'm optimistic. I gave an optimistic prediction and all the rest. You know, I wanted to be optimistic. I wanted to have some sort of assertiveness heading into the game, thinking to myself, I think we can do something here. I think we can have a special night. I think we can go out and give PSG a run for their money. But you're comparing a 20 million team to a 550 million pound team. At the end of the day, a loss has to be accepted. We cannot complain. At the end of the day, that is what you've got to expect. Heading up against a team like PSG is what you've got to expect. What else can you do? It was always a 99% chance of them beating us, and that 99% chance came up. If we beat them, it would have been truly special. It would have been great, but we couldn't have went into the game expecting Celtic to do it, and obviously we didn't do it. So 5-0. How damaging, how embarrassing do we actually take that though? What do you make of the performance from Celtic? I feel like it was sloppy. It wasn't to a Champions League standard. There was points of the game where I was thinking to myself, they just don't know what they're doing. And it's hard to really... I think we'll get a better perspective of how we are as a Champions League side when we take on Anderlecht. PSG and Bayern Munich are just worlds. Celtic are as far off as possible from being a team like that than you could ever imagine. We're never going to be on that level in the Scottish Premiership. It's never going to happen. Unless some 12 Saudi Arabian investors decide to buy every team in our league, as Kieran from the podcast put it today to me. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the performances. Anderlecht will give us a better perspective of how we are fitting into the Champions League, and if we are a Champions League or European, you know, sort of standard side that we can progress in Europe past into knockout stages. But the performance last night, it was sloppy. It wasn't a Champions League standard, and you know, we are going up against a big team, but there are parts of the game where you think we have to do better than that. Even against a team like PSG, we have to do. Our passing was not great. We kept giving the ball to them, and either a good pressing team, they were pressing us to get the ball off us, especially when you've seen Patrick Roberts take the ball. 3 men were running around Patrick Roberts. The pressure was... PSG were just brilliant at defending. We couldn't get near them, and when we did, we had to take those chances, and we just didn't really make enough of the chances we did get from the game last night. But they were fantastic at applying the pressure. Our passes were being intercepted. We couldn't really, for a wee bit of the game, it seemed like we couldn't string two together, and it was annoying. I say, and Cham especially, he kept getting the ball. He would do his best to win it back, and a couple of times he did win it back, but he kept passing it to PSG. And it's those type of things. It's like, if we want to compete and if we want to have credibility as a better European side, we have to be able to string two passes together. And last night it seemed at points we couldn't do it. I thought the first half performance was very dominated by PSG. Of course, it was dominated by PSG. We never really had a look in the first half. And I feel like as soon as they got the first goal, it took all the energy out of the team. It took all the motivation away from not even just the team, but the fans. It felt, especially because in the stadium at the time, it did seem like a certain foul on Scott Sinclair, and everybody did not agree with the decision that a free kick was not given. When you go back and look at it, it was not a free kick. PSG rightfully got their goal. It wasn't a free kick. Scott Sinclair fell over his own feet. Fair enough. They went and took advantage and they got a goal. That's fair enough, but it really did drain the team, I thought. I feel like it was quite demotivating, and it is really probably a factor on how we went on to then concede. The second goal, shambolic defending. We'll come on to the defending issue in a moment. Shambolic defending from Celtic for the second goal. I thought I couldn't really get my head around how we were so iffy at the back, and we allowed Mbappe just to create this bit of space for himself, and it was just poor. The third goal, penalty, fair enough, shouldn't have gave away a penalty though. Shouldn't have gave it away. Silly penalty to give away. Couldn't do much about it. And the first half performance, poor. But the thing is, the second half, I thought we were pretty good. We done so well to keep PSG away from scoring more goals up until the 80th minute. We played good football, and good on a standard of Celtic playing against PSG, right? Obviously it's not good in the sense we went and scored 3 goals, but if we're trying to keep ourselves from being damaged even more by PSG, up until the 80th minute or so, until that own goal, we played some pretty decent football. I thought we'd done quite well at keeping PSG from scoring. We also created a couple of chances for ourselves. really, honestly, not a problem with the second half performance. And I was really happy up until the 80th minute. I was thinking to myself, I'll take this. 3-0, not bad, and we've not exactly embarrassed ourselves because this second half performance has not been bad. Then, unluckily, Lustig scored an own goal. Couldn't do much about it. It was really unlucky the way it happened. And the 5th goal was just sheer class from Cavani. Don't understand how he was allowed the space, mind you, and allowed the opportunity to get the header off, but fantastic finish. And once again, I'll say it, Cavani is world class. Some people still disagree with me, but Cavani is world class. And that type of finish, that header, to steer it from the angle and the way he dived at it as well is extremely difficult. Extremely. Cavani, world class without a shadow of a doubt. And he put the 5th one in for PSG last night. And it was annoying because it feels like, I just don't know, it just feels like stuff could have been prevented from happening. PSG at the end of the day were deserving of the win, but I just feel like 5-0 does not really reflect what should have happened. At the end of the day, they got the 5, we can't do much about it, we can't revoke that. The defensive issue, does last night prove that we need a centre-back? Does it prove, I mean, keep in mind, Savichenko, not Simonovic, Savichenko and Boyata are out the team. But were Celtic completely wrong not to bring in another first-team centre-back? It feels like when we were crying for a centre-back, I was thinking more to myself as a kind of guy just to fill the role until they're back. But do we need a first-team quality, going to start over anybody centre-back? I feel like after that performance last night, and especially for the second goal, we really need someone commanding. We just really need someone at the back who is a rock, physical, great at defending, intercepting, aggression, everything. We need it. Even with Savichenko and Boyata back, which is a full strength back line, you know, if we had Simonovic and Boyata or Savichenko, that is full strength. But still, I feel like now that we look at it from last night, maybe we do. Maybe we do. Let me know your opinion, but maybe we do need someone else. Maybe we do need a first team centre back. I genuinely thought maybe a backup would have been alright and I wasn't too bothered that we didn't get one at the end of the day, but now maybe we need a first team centre back. Maybe just need it. Anthony Ralston was thrown into the deep end. Did not expect him to get the start. It was all yesterday I heard it piped up in the Sun and such that Ralston was set to start the game. I was shocked to hear that, and then I was even more shocked to see he was actually given a start. And maybe he didn't have the best performance in the world. But honestly, thrown in against Neymar in your first ever Champions League game, hats off to the boy. I just feel like we can't be too critical of him. What is the need in being too critical of him? He might have not played his best football. He might have been letting Neymar by too easily. But at the end of the day, how many right backs on planet Earth is going to be able to stop Neymar consistently throughout a game? Consistently. How many right backs in the world are going to do it? Especially at the age of 18. At the age of 18, no right back that dealt with Neymar on a Champions League night. No chance in hell. So Anthony Ralston, I'm just going to say hats off. Hats off to him. He was thrown into the team, and for his first ever Champions League game, honestly, stellar. I didn't think he was extremely poor. And you've got to give, I mean, the whole thing with Neymar, the whole thing with Thiago Motta is enough to make me go, fuck it. You made the night enjoyable, son. You made the night enjoyable. I'm saying son like he's fucking... I'm 45. He's older than me. He's a year older than me, so, not really, son. Pal. I'll say pal. But, I mean, honestly, he made the night enjoyable with that, so you know what? Hats off to him for that as well. I just feel like we can't be too critical, fans can't be too critical towards Anthony Ralston. He was thrown in a baptism of fire. I'll go back to that reference. Baptism of fire for Anthony Ralston. I feel like he handled it decently. I thought he didn't have a bad game at all. Patrick Roberts is out there once again proving. I thought there was moments of magic from Roberts. He couldn't really get the ball to the final part of the pitch, but the way he was getting by players is once again, we're never going to have him permanently. Let's just deal with it. It's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not going. I'd love it to. I will campaign for it next year, but it's not going to happen. Patrick Roberts is just unbelievably good, and I feel like Man City really should be implementing him somehow next year, in my opinion. I just really think he could do something if given the chance at Manchester City. But overall, you know, is it embarrassing? Do we take it as an embarrassment? At the time when the 5th went in, I was thinking to myself, geez, and it's not the performance necessarily that annoys me as much as the thought of going home, going on to BT Sports highlights, going on to Twitter, going on to Facebook, and going through the comments sections and seeing the constant barrage of comments of how shit Celtic are. That is what really annoys me. Because there's my computer screen went off again. That really annoys me because John, age 47 from Bury, is moaning at how Celtic got beat 5-0 off PSG. Buddy's #1 fan. You know, that just pisses me off, and I say it time and time again, but it does. Honestly, I don't think we can be too embarrassed. At the end of the day, their squad is unbelievable. It's only a matter of time before we're calling PSG the new Barcelona. It really is. They could be honestly taking Bayern Munich for a walk in this group. I don't think they will. I still think Bayern Munich are the second best team in Europe. I feel like it will take PSG a bit of time, maybe a couple of years to be like Barcelona were in like 2009, but they're going to be there. And at the end of the day, either buying their way to it, but Celtic can't do anything about that. So how embarrassing is it? I know it's not the best performance. It's our biggest ever home loss in Europe. But we need to accept we can't compete with a team of that value. And if we do, then that's a miracle. And it's lovely, but we're not going to get it. If we can't expect it like that. You know, we can't moan at the players. At the end of the day, they're out their depths. And I'd love to see them go and challenge them, but it's going to be difficult, and we have to accept that. I'm not saying that let's just accept defeat, but we've got to accept it's going to be difficult, and there is a 99% chance of them going to absolutely thump us. So, really, last night, disappointing obviously, but, you know, we're there to take part, and we're there to... I mean, the banner did say we're not here to take part, we're here to take over, but we are here to try and get a showing. Hopefully we do have a better showing against Bayern Munich and Anderlecht, but we can only do what we can do at the end of the day, and I'm going to remain optimistic. I'm optimistic we'll get a third place finish, and I hope we do, but we've got to accept that we might not, and I feel like we just can't be too critical. That's my main... We can't be too critical about last night, because what can we do? That is my main takeaway point from the game. Hopefully we do improve. Obviously we've got an Old Firm coming up in 2 weeks, so let's not dwell on the defeat too long. We don't want to become anywhere, you know, and down-spirited going into that game, so we've got to stay high in spirits for that match and for the Anderlecht game in a few weeks as well. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the game last night, your opinions, who you thought were good, who you thought was bad, and all that good stuff. If you have enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.